ready with his notebook.
Ready?
He's going.
I'm going to give you a handout but a bit later. Ready, set, go. So welcome tonight, friends. Thank you for coming. Some formalities. The toilets are through there to the right, through that door. If you need to evacuate, through that door to the left. If the front door is blocked, we'll go out that door. And it might be helpful to put mobile phones on silent. So, just to explain the menu tonight, the agenda, it's designed to go for 30 minutes. It's an outline. I'm giving an outline of what guarantees there are for consumers of goods in Australia. I'll give a handout a bit in a few minutes. First of all, I need to set the context and explain some terms. Then we'll look at the guarantees for consumers of goods. There are 9 guarantees, won't look at all of them. Then a case study or 2. Then a video, a 5-minute video, then wrap up and feedback forms. So, have you heard of the ACCC?
Yes.
What's the ACCC? What does it stand for? Australian.
Consumer.
That comes later.
Oh.
It's one later. Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. So there's competition and there's consumer. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission was set up by the Competition and Consumer Act. So the Act and the Commission, there are 2 broad responsibilities. One's to do with competition, ensure competitive markets. So if one company wants to take over another, they'll have to get permission from the ACCC, and the ACCC might say, no. That's a big area of the Act. We're not looking at that. The other general area of the Act is consumer protection. Consumer protection it's a huge area. We're looking at a very narrow part of that. We're looking at when a consumer buys goods in Australia, they get, what guarantees do they get? We're going to look at those. So to define terms, consumer. A consumer is someone who spends up to or equal to $40,000. Goods, it's a normal definition, some things have been added. So I want to, first question, gentlemen, can you zip it? I'm going to ask the ladies. Ladies, think of a purchase, a recent purchase, perhaps in the last 6 days or so. What's something you purchased? You may not want to volunteer it because husbands are here. We can speak hypothetically. What I'm getting at is what's normally included in the term goods.
Clothes. Shoes.
Shoes? Yes, shoes.
Food. No.
Food, I'm not sure. I don't think so because
cafe takeaway, food, like restaurant.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Food's a difficult one.
We'll skip that.
Clothes. Clothes.
Clothes.
Electronics.
Yes, like electronic
Phone.
goods. Yep, that's good. So I've asked the ladies what they might have bought in the last 6 days. Gentlemen, now your turn. What's something you might have bought in the last 6 months? Because not have purchased anything in the last 6 months. Think of something you might have purchased in the last 6 months. We're just looking at this as discussion on what's included by the term goods.
A jacket?
Yeah, a jacket. Any clothes?
Sporting goods?
Sporting goods, very good. First thing I thought of. So goods includes, it's the normal goods in the Australian consumer law, and we'll Schedule 2 to the Competition and Consumer Act. Schedule 2 is the Australian Consumer Law, which gives consumer rights. The Competition and Consumer Act is very big, and so in Schedule 2 they put the Australian Consumer Law. It defines goods as, it includes animals, it includes electricity, gas, it includes computer software. And the purchase, to get the guarantee, the purchase needs to be from a retailer and generally not purchased at auction. So
if you buy something on eBay, it may not be covered then.
eBay.
I think you are,
Okay.
but that can get a bit tricky.
Yeah.
I'll give a handout to pass around. That's a very good question, Barry, but I'm the law. Some of the laws we're talking about can get complex. I've paraphrased them to simplify them. For instance, they're generally applicable, but not auctions. That's one out. Food, I'm not sure. Buying on eBay, I think that's covered. So if someone in America, if you buy something from a website in America, they might say, "Oh, that's not covered by Australian law." I think it is, but there are grey areas. So a mini case study. A man called Richard buys a squash racket for $35,000 from Harvey Norman. Is Richard a consumer?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Expensive squash racket.
Has he? It's a very, very good squash racket. Has he purchased goods?
Yes.
Yes. Squash racket's part of goods. So do the consumer guarantees apply to this man Richard who's bought the $35,000 squash racket?
Yes.
They do. Yep.
You'd want them to.
Yep. So that's the background, the context, where the law is, and some key terms: consumer, goods. It's got to be purchased from a retailer. So on the handout I've just given you, halfway down, it sets out what are the guarantees for a consumer of goods. I've summarised them. There's 9. We'll focus on the first 5 dot points. And learning is an active process. Helen, could you read the first dot point, please? That's the first guarantee.
Goods must be of acceptable quality.
Thank you. Goods must be of acceptable quality. Sounds a bit general. What does that mean? At the bottom of the page, I've summarised the definition of acceptable quality. Jeannie, can you just sit down the bottom there?
Safe,
Can you just read out what they are?
yeah, safe, durable, no faults. Look acceptable. Do all things someone would normally expect them to do.
Thanks. So that's do everything that someone would normally expect that good to do. Yeah. So that's the first guarantee, that goods must be of acceptable quality. Frank, could you read out the second dot point, the second guarantee, please?
Goods must be fit for the purpose the retailer informed you of, and any purpose which you made known to the retailer.
Must be fit for purpose. And Diane, could you please read out the third dot point, the third guarantee?
Goods must match any samples consumer asked for or demonstration model.
Yep, thanks. Yeah, that's a little bit of a tongue twister paraphrase, but the good has got to match a sample, or if there's a demonstration model, it's got to match that demonstration model. Mike, could you read out the next guarantee, next dot point, please?
Goods must come with full title.
That basically means if you buy goods, you shouldn't expect the police to seize them back the next day, or someone to say, a finance company to say, oh, there's a charge on that, we're taking it back. If they do, you've got a recourse against the company, the retailer that sold them to you. And where are we, Barry? Could you read that fifth dot point, please?
Goods must match descriptions made by the salesperson for packaging and labels and in promotions or advertising.
Goods must match description, yeah. In the video, there's a 5-minute video produced by the ABC, the checkout consumer affairs part, and the man's bringing back a box labelled Rottweiler. So you'd expect it to be a Rottweiler, and there's a cute little puppy about that big, and the dog, is not a Rottweiler. So he was sold a pup. Okay, there's we'll focus on those first 5 guarantees, those first 5 dot points. If you look down the bottom, and some of the others are a bit repetitive, if you look down the bottom of those dot points, number 9, the guarantee is that spare parts and repair facilities must be available for a reasonable time after purchase unless you were told otherwise. So if some retailer sells you something, they've got to provide repair and spare parts. Imagine the example of...
Just one thing, what is a reasonable time?
Yeah, it's just a reasonable time.
I mean, if you buy a car...
If you're talking bananas, what's it? Like, you're talking about all kinds of goods.
Yeah.
Obviously, your reasonable time in relation to bananas...
The repairs and support.
Okay.
Because sometimes you buy something and take it off the market the next month.
Yeah. It's a principle that the law is what's a reasonable time? It's a principle which is applicable to 1,000 different situations. The law can't say, oh, it's a week or it's a month or it's 6 years or it's 10 years. It just depends on that. If you're talking cars, I don't know, I suppose, well, you're talking years.
Yeah, okay.
My hypothetical example is a person named Tom who buys a Mitsubishi GTO X, a new one,
It's a grey import though.
fully imported.
GTO, not X.
GTO X, isn't it?
GTO.
GTO. I've messed up my...
The number plate's
Tom's
not
not
happy.
Tom buys a Mitsubishi GTO, a new one. 6 months later, the fuel pump dies and it doesn't work. There are no spare parts in Australia. Do you think the Nissan company has breached their guarantee?
Not with that model.
Assume it's probably not one. Assume it's a new
That's a
one.
grey import, so it's not the same as Pulsar, for example.
My example is
It's not a reasonable time.
my example is, let's say Mitsubishi are selling this new car in Australia. Tom buys it, and 6 months later there's a problem with it. He needs repair, and there are no repairs. Do you think the company has breached their guarantee?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Because it's still under warranty.
Okay, now the active bit. What I would like you to do in those top 5 dot points, those top 5 guarantees, learning is an active process. I want you please to underline or highlight the key words in those just those 5 guarantees, those 5 dot points there. So you're looking to underline or highlight the key words to just grasp, to understand what the guarantee is, because I've paraphrased these guarantees from legislation, and so this is an exercise to help you be active.
Was it the first 5 or the 9?
The first 5, just the first 5 we'll go with. The first one, what are the key words?
Acceptable.
Acceptable or acceptable quality, and that's a bit of a mouthful because you look there in the section and in my note, there's a whole lot of things like it's got to look okay, it's got to be safe, durable, do something that you'd normally expect that good to do. But yeah, acceptable quality means all of that. Yes. What's the next one? The key word or key phrase in the next one?
Fit for purpose.
Yeah. Fit for purpose, that it's designed for, or that the person, the consumer might specify. Fit for purpose is good. What about the next one?
Must match samples or demonstration model.
Yeah. If we're trying to paraphrase, I think key word is match. Match samples, match demo model. Yep. The next guarantee.
Full title.
Yeah, you've got to get full title. And the last one, what's the key word or key phrase?
Match description.
Match description, yeah.
Packaging and labels.
Match description, it might be the description on the box, it might be the description by the salesperson, but so match the description is the key concept. Very good. Well, I'm going to hand out some case studies, which I suggest you do in pairs. And as I hand that out, there's two case studies. We'll just do case study one at this stage, in twos or threes or on the range you like. But in doing that case study, I just want to point out that retailers cannot contract out of these consumer guarantees.
What does that mean? Contract that.
It means that the consumer guarantees apply by force of law. If a man called Richard wants to buy a squash racket from Harvey Norman for $35,000, very good squash racket, and Harvey Norman says, Richard, listen, this is a very good squash racket, normally sells for $35,000, we'll sell it to you for $32,000 if you sign this contract to say that the guarantees under the consumer law for goods purchased in Australia do not apply. So Richard says, oh yeah, I'm saving $3,000, I'll sign that. That clause that says the guarantees under the consumer law do not apply, the courts just say, that doesn't apply. You can't do that.
Can I ask how long ago that law was employed to come into application?
It started from 1st of January 2011 in Australia. Prior to that, there was a Trade Practices Act in Australia, and each state had its own sort of similar sort of consumer law, consumer protection laws, but different. At some stage, the state, territory, and Commonwealth governments got together and they said, let's have a national scheme. And it probably took a couple of years, a year or two or three or 10 to put together. And the result of that is the Competition and Consumer Act 2010, to which Schedule 2 is the Australian Consumer Law, applies from 1st of January 2011. It's a uniform law across Australia. It's quite powerful. But before that, yeah, different laws.
Yeah, no, I did have an experience before that. I bought an electric razor from a franchised electronics dealer, and it went wrong within 6 months. So I took it back to him. He said, I only sell them.
These days you can't. These days you can't do that.
Oh, no,
The old fob off and see the manufacturer. No.
That's right.
These days you have remedies. I'm probably not looking at remedies. I'm looking at what the guarantees are. But the consumer has remedies against the retailer and the manufacturer. So let's look at case study one concerning all of these. So I'll give you a few minutes to read case study one and answer the questions, then we'll discuss together. Just in case there's
Just
one.
Louise. Just washing machine.
You've answered the question.
I'm sure a contract like that.
Yes.
What I would say is it's, personally I would have said that there should be some complaint early on. Personally, it's sort of like,
Which guarantees
yeah.
been breached? Fit for the purpose.
Oh, even the first one. Acceptable
That's the
quality.
second, yeah.
This must come with full title and everything.
Yeah, so they can't say like,
like,
oh, we need to repossess this.
Yeah.
So, acceptable quality and fit for purpose.
Some come on with washing machine.
that's right.
Volunteer,
No,
no?
it's a,
How much of it
protection,
is
right,
yes,
if it's a
Really, it's
washing
like-
machine,
but
so
like,
you expect to be,
so
yeah,
it's
it's going to have a guarantee.
very
It
good
could be
one,
a
right?
year or 2 years
Yeah, like
guarantee.
an LG.
Working, it's this part here.
Oh, well, 2017.
Very good.
It's not working. It's not working. The other ones should have been
You can probably pay that
service
much.
in the right.
Yeah.
But it's not working.
All done?
Yes.
Okay, let's discuss together. So Louise bought a washing machine from Harvey Norman for 2,000. After a couple of months it died, discoloured clothes initially that died. Is Louise a consumer?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, she is. Has she purchased goods? So will the washing machine be included in goods?
Yes.
Yes. Is it from a retailer? Well, yes, Harvey Norman is a retailer. So do the guarantees under the Australian consumer law apply to Louise's purchase of the washing machine?
Yes.
They do. There's basically those three conditions. Can you tick that the person's a consumer? Have they purchased goods? Is it from a retailer? Yes. So the consumer guarantees apply. Which guarantee do you think might have been breached, if any?
1, 2.
1, 2, and 5.
Acceptable quality and fit for
Yeah.
purpose.
It would appear that the goods are not of acceptable quality. It's the washing machine is not fit for purpose. And possibly number 5, it doesn't match the description. Yep. So a fairly simple case. We won't go on to discuss. You can have a look at 2.
So what does Louise do if Harvey Norman says to her, go away?
Contact the ACCC.
She might ring the contact the
Is
ACCC.
that what you, it's like a website or you just phone them up?
Yes.
Would you
In
like
the
to-
handout I've given you,
Okay.
there's the ACCC website, and then there's a link to
Okay.
find the consumer guarantee guide, and there's also a link to the legislation. It's very difficult to find, but I'll show you probably after that session. So
Brands course, yeah?
while I open up my laptop, I will just, we've done a case study, and just emphasise again that you can't, a retailer cannot, I hope to get the pin right, retailer cannot contract out of the Australian consumer law. They apply. And in terms of remedies, again, I'm assuming you're consumers. If I was addressing law students, I would say, students, today's session is on what guarantees there are. Next session, next week, we look at remedies. But at a high level, the remedies, if there's a major failure, in other words, we won't go into what that is, something big, then the consumer has a choice of, there are 3 R's. Oh, keep your pens, 3 R's. What does the consumer, what am I,
Refund,
refund's one of them?
replace,
Repair.
return.
There's a lot of R's.
There's 4 of them, I think.
Which one did you not
It's
include?
the consumer's choice. The law and the summary say the consumer has a choice of reject the goods, like return, reject, repair, or refund. There's a bit of overlap there, but
Yeah.
the point is the consumer has the choice to say, I want a refund, I want to return the goods. If the retailer says, oh no, you can't do that, we'll give you a replacement, the consumer has the choice.
Just a quick one. At Office Works, a friend of mine bought a Fitbit and it broke within the first 30 days. And they took it back and they said, because it's in the first 30 days, you can get a refund. If it's more than 30 days, it has to be replaced or repaired.
Ah.
That would be incorrect.
That's incorrect.
It's like when they say exchange only for clothes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
illegal.
Some
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Mm.
Even if they advertise it before you buy it, they can't enforce that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
He's lost his video.
No, okay.
Repair or reboot.
I don't know. Tim, can you pause?
Oh, you've got his assistant there.
Can you pause?
Yes. But as a consumer, no one reads you your rights, and many shoppers are left with the wrong impression. Signs like this, for example. Or this, or this, or this. They're bullshit and they're illegal.
Warning, consumer law does not give you the right to face signs, even if they're bullshit.
Point is, it doesn't matter what the dodgy sign says. It doesn't matter what the dodgy fine print you're
Everyone
never going to
see
read
that
says.
okay?
And it doesn't matter what the dodgy sales assistant says.
Hey! It's true.
If you buy goods in Australia, you've got rights under the Australian consumer law. And those rights are exactly the same, whether you buy from a big chain store, a small retailer, a second-hand store, or even an op shop. But they don't apply to private sales. So you're okay, Harvey. It's normal. You can read yourself your rights at consumerlaw.gov.au. Now, I'm the kind of guy who loves doing that. But if you're not, here are the basics about returning goods in Australia.
So this is about returning goods.
You have the right to return a product if it's not as described. And that's as described on the packet or by the person who sold it.
Oh.
You have the right to return something if it's not fit for its purpose. And that includes the usual purpose, but also if you conveyed a different purpose to the fucker who sold the product to you and it's not fit for that purpose. You can return it then too. You also have the right to return a product if it's not of acceptable quality. Now, what's acceptable quality? This is where it gets interesting. What's acceptable quality isn't about you. It's about you, the consumer. What do you think is acceptable?
Actually, it's not about you. It's about what the reasonable consumer fully acquainted with the goods would regard as acceptable.
Do you mind? Anyway, a product is only acceptable if it looks okay, if it's safe, and if it's durable. What durable means depends on the sort of product it is.
Durable for 5
There are
minutes.
lots of products, fridges, freezers, washing machines, that we keep for a long time. And for them, reasonable durability should be measured in years, even decades, not weeks or months. For example, you'd expect a candlestick like this to last for many years. So if it fell apart after, say, 2 years, you can still return it. You've really let yourself go.
You can't return this without the original packaging.
That's wrong. The consumer law says that you don't need the original packaging to return something.
Yeah, it's tick boxes.
You don't have the receipt.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need the receipt. I'm right, you know. There's no law that says you need a receipt. You just need to be able to prove your purchase. And there's plenty of ways of doing that. Whether it's credit card records, product serial numbers, or maybe even social media. Just say that somebody's being difficult. Remember, it's the consumer's choice where you take things back. You can return them to the manufacturer if you want, but you can also return it to whoever you bought it from. The store can't fob you off to the manufacturer. And they can't charge you for it either. In fact, even saying there's a fee is illegal. You could go to jail for it.
Actually, it's just a fine.
Shh. Even better, if you get something as a gift, you've got exactly the same consumer rights as if you purchased it yourself. As long as you can show where it was bought, you can return your gift without a receipt, even without the original packaging.
Okay, I might kill that. That's a 7-minute video that we're up to about the 5-minute mark. So we're just wrapping up now. So to wrap up, hopefully you'll recognise that in that video from the checkout program on channel on the ABC, it confirmed what I've been saying, what the law says. So to summarise, if a consumer buys goods in Australia from a retailer, the consumer guarantees apply. What are some of those consumer guarantees? From memory.
Acceptable quality.
It's got to be acceptable quality.
Fit for the purpose.
Fit for the purpose.
Match descriptions.
Match description on the packaging or by the salesperson. And the person gets full title. Excellent. Thank you. That's it. End of session. Thank you for coming. Tim, you can cut. Thank you.